Lesson 7. Be impersonal. A magnetic leader has to be impersonal, but most people take that word, impersonal, to mean something cold, to mean to apply to other people's feelings rather than to his own, as if to tell people, well, that's your problem. Actually, if you're really impersonal, what you're really taking out of the picture is yourself. To be impersonal in that sense is to really be much more kind toward other people, much more winning toward other people, because then you don't think about your own likes and dislikes, you think about their needs, their accomplishments. To be impersonal means not to be partial as far as you and your involvement with people are concerned. A leader can't afford to show partiality. He has to have that level of impersonality where he recognizes all as equal in his esteem. Obviously there will be some who have more esteem, who are worthy of more esteem, but he has to respect them as individuals, not thinking only in terms of some person's talent is more estimable than another, but also in terms of here is a person, a human being, with the latent possibility, the latent ability to accomplish things that others have finally made kinetic, made active, actual. When you're impersonal, people will feel that you are their friend. They won't feel that, well, you're the friend of particular ones and not of others. Any leader who has that kind of partiality will lose people. Whereas if they know that whoever they are, he is their friend, he will win them. Impersonality is magnetic. It's also very magnetic and important in the process of getting a job done. Because if you do what you want, then very often what you want won't be in tune with the realities of the situation. A good question to ask yourself whenever you approach a new project or a new undertaking is not to say, what do I want to make happen here, but what is trying to happen here? There's a certain reality that we have to go along with. A good writer knows that, and that's the difference between a good writer and a mediocre one. A good writer, like Shakespeare, you know that he had his own values, but at the same time, when he was writing about writing the part of a villain, let's say, he put himself in the role of the villain. He made the villain act the way the villain would act. He made the good person act, the hero act, the way the hero would act. He made the action come out of the character rather than out of his own desires for that character, making the character behave in order to further some artificial plot. Well, basically speaking, whatever you're doing in life is sort of like that. It's creating a new reality. That's what building a company is. That's what creating a family is. That's what doing anything is. Creating a new reality. And this you will be able to do if you keep this point in mind. Never feel that you are somehow the manipulative God. I know in a book by B.F. Skinner on communities called Walden 2, I don't know if you've read it, it's an interesting book, but at the end there, he sort of kills the whole book in my opinion, because he has somebody sitting up above there saying, isn't it nice to play God? Well, you know, God himself doesn't manipulate anything. We can see that he lets things grow by themselves. Each one of us has the freedom to do what he wants to do in order to grow. He works from within. That's why so many people have a hard time believing there is a God, because if they were God, they would be directing everybody and making them behave the way they want them to. And that seems to be the way that Skinner's book was, that he had this person in a manipulative position, sort of making people do what he wanted them to do. You need to get yourself out of the picture and try to feel what is happening. Let your project evolve from its own realities. Let your co-workers evolve from their realities. Let things happen according to what the need of the moment is. And you will find that every time you do the same thing, you'll do it differently. One famous actress, after many years of playing a particular part, I think it was 13 years, came to her last performance. And somebody said to her, well, it'll be a breeze, you don't even have to think about it, this is your last one. And she said, on the contrary, it's my last chance to do it perfectly. And so she put even more effort into it. Every time that you do things, you should do them creatively. And this you will find it much easier to do if you are impersonal and get yourself out of the picture so that you can allow the realities to take over, to direct you as they would be directed. Be impersonal with people, but that doesn't mean unloving or unkind. See them from their own nature rather than from your own opinions of them. I'll never forget counseling somebody once, years ago, and he was telling me something, sort of hinting about some great sin that he'd committed, and I was wondering what's he done. Has he killed his mother or something? Finally he blurted out what this was, and I was so relieved that it was only that I said, oh, that's nothing. And I lost him from that moment, because I was talking from my relief, but not from his reality. His reality was that this was something very important, and I needed to be impersonal enough to be able to listen to where he was coming from, tune into that, and then relate to that. It would have been far better if I had said, oh my God, really? And sort of taken very seriously this thing, and then turned around and said, but after all, in relation to other things, is it all that important? But won him slowly to an attitude where he would be able to accept the relatively minor nature of what he was doing, and then put him in a position where he'd be able to help the matter and become better in the future. Well, this is all an example of the sort of thing that you can do, you can accomplish, but only when you have learned to be impersonal, when you've learned to get yourself out of the picture and try to relate to objective realities as they are.